Hello, I'm going to do something a little bit different. So we saw this Runway's big ad contest for products that don't exist, and we were like, we want to enter that, me and a bunch of dudes, and that's what I'm working on. The dudes that I'm working with are PJ Eels and Marchant Eberson, great guys, very, very creative, and we're collaborating and delivering against one of these briefs that don't exist. The 3 briefs, you can see lovely little prizes there. You can also see that we're in the middle of this. There's 4 days left to submit the brief. The 6 briefs that they got are just very, very basic household products, and like there's fizz soda, there's a garden hose, there's rechargeable batteries, and we actually chose Cinch Paper Clips because it had a really cool premise. The line here is hold everything together. The ask was to show that somewhere right now a single paper clip is the only thing standing between order and total chaos. I mean, the natural thought here is to show something really, really ridiculous and really crazy, like a paperclip holding back a wormhole and there's aliens behind that wormhole. But we actually wanted to do something slightly different, but we really like the potential here. So the end result of what we ended up showing is a much more mature take that I think a lot of people would do. It's a great idea where we show how the paperclip is holding together or holding back, or being the key element or key object in these like very historical and amazing moments in history. So we've got Martin Luther King, we've got the Wright brothers' first flight, we've got a photographer showcasing their amazing emotive photographs, we've got the land speed record, we've got like the Beatles recording their very first, well not their very first, but recording at Abbey Road, we've got Edmund Hillary on top of Mount Everest, and we've got the International Space Station. And really just showing how the paperclip has been integral in all of these key moments in history. So a different take completely than what you would expect from, I would imagine, a lot of the entries. Maybe some people are going to be doing it as well, but definitely a conscious decision to do something a lot more mature, beautiful, emotive, and really lean into the storytelling and showcasing this fake product and paperclip. Really cool opportunity, really excited, but I'm going to get stuck in and show you a little bit more about my workflow and what I've done so far. I have managed to create the Martin Luther King shots and the Wright brothers shots. As you can see, the rest of these shots are still very much stand-in. I haven't really explored them too much. They're just there for, excuse me, they were just mostly there just to kind of get across the idea. As I mentioned, I had done a full walkthrough video. It was about an hour and a half long of both of these shots, but I kind of duffed up that recording. So I'm just going to show you the process at very top level. A lot of the work has obviously already been done, but hopefully it's interesting enough for you guys to stick around for more. All right, let's have a look. So, starting off, we've got some very recognizable shots in this piece. So to get things cracking, I took an original, very grainy, noisy, but colored in this case, shot of the Martin Luther King, and ran this very cool upscale prompt that, let me just go to it quickly and I'll show you the guy. So this is the guy who wrote the prompt, the upscale prompt. As you can see, it's pretty gosh darn amazing. Let's just say that. And kudos to him. All props to his prompt. It works incredibly well. As you can see, if this is the original shot that we wanted to use, here you can see the upscale is pretty amazing. It did change his expression slightly. It's not perfect, but for our uses, it was absolutely fine. So from there, I needed to make it a wide shot, just a very simple prompt, 16:9 version of the shot. Keep this, obviously I'm using Nano Banana. Keep the same angle, lighting, action, everything, just widen the frame. And there it is. Pretty damn amazing. Nana Banana is just a massive game changer. If you're not using Nana Banana, you need to start using it immediately. But you can see it not only kept the original shot in there, it also added all of these amazing details that just make sense for this time period and this particular moment. Excuse me. What I'm mostly impressed about is like this guy bottom left over here. You can see the Nana Banana has analyzed these guys, excuse me, who are standing on the other side of this gate or fence, and it managed to just put this guy there. I don't know how that even happens, but pretty fantastic. And then from there, because of the terms and conditions of this contest that we are not to use people's likenesses, so I wanted to take the shot and just reverse it slightly or just shift the position of Martin Luther King, and just got this back shot of Martin Luther King waving to the crowd. Very, very cool. Did a really good job. And then I wanted to get a crowd shot, so pushed the quote unquote camera closer. It did a really good job, but it kept Martin Luther King's head in the shot, which, if you have a look at the perspective, would mean that he's down over here. So that ain't gonna work. So ask the Nana Banana just prompted Martin Luther King's head away or out. But as you can see as well, these protesting signs or these posters that they've got, or these march signs that they've got here, are not the best. In other words, they don't make any damn sense. So I just asked Nana Banana, or prompted Nana Banana, just to add in some more relevant and coherent posters. I mean, the actual posters themselves are not going to be that important because there's going to be a lot of movement when this is going. But it did need to be a right to some degree, because if people do start scrutinizing it, you want it to be as good as possible. Now I also wanted a slightly wider shot of this, and just prompted the Nana Banana just to pull the shot a bit wide. Did a really good job here. I didn't even specifically ask for the Washington Monument there, but it did it anyway. So contextually speaking, it knows where it is. It's looking at this and going, this looks a little bit like the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument, and it's actually added in there. Pretty amazing stuff. But on top of that, so using to get to the additional shots, I wanted to focus on the speech, so we can include the paper clip, and just got it to focus on that. You can see it's even got the written words, "I have a dream." It's not an exact representation of the speech itself. You can get the speech, but it just wouldn't have been legible, so we chose a different route. And then needed some additional shots as well. Excuse me. I wanted a shot of Martin Luther King, but it just has his face obscured and turning around. But you can see here, this bundle of paper, his speech doesn't have the paper clip, so ask Nana Banana, coming in clutch, just to add the paper clip to the bundle of papers, and now this is a good working shot. Also wanted a reverse shot behind these guys, but closer to the actual Lincoln Memorial itself, and ask the prompting just to do that. You can see it try to do it, didn't quite get this right. This doesn't make any sort of perspective sense, but a couple of prompts and a couple of generations later, got a pretty good result. Then from there, so that's all of the shots. You can see it's a little bit of a spider web of interconnecting generations, but Weavy has become my go-to for getting shots right. For all of the majority of the videos that I create, I do start in Midjourney, but I definitely do finish the process off in Weavy. It's really amazing, and it's nice to be able to see that process of your quote-unquote photo editing. All right, so now that we've got the key 4 shots. Here they are. We now need to pull these into Runway and start the process of generating video. Excuse me. So initially I just went in and started using the normal Runway feed. That's because that's what I'm largely used to, and the results were okay, not too bad for the most part. I tested between excuse me, Kling, using Kling, did some good results, and then also a couple, not that one, and then I also did a few Gen 4 results, and my outtake was that Kling for this particular use makes perfect sense, so I stuck with it. But also what I wanted to do, because I'm a big fan of using Weavy, I wanted to try out the workflow that is now built into Runway for the very first time. And I've never used this before. You can see I've got 2 shots here. I've got the opening MLK shot and then the Wright brothers shot. And actually it works pretty good. So, yeah, you can see it. It's so great to see that I had this full walkthrough, all of the stuff done. But anyway. So you can see I have my individual shots placed into this workflow. I just like it because it's just an easier way to, where is it now? It's just an easier way to manage so you can see it's just nice to have all of your generations and images a bit more managed in a workflow. I mean, I'm using it very, very basically and simply, but I find that it's better than, I think I'm just a visual person. I like the visual programming nature of these workflows and these node-based systems. So for me, this just makes sense. But for you, obviously, it may not. So for the individual shots, so taking the opening shot, telescopic slow zoom back from a large crowd at the Lincoln Memorial, revealing the Washington Monument to the far background. The crowd is standing silently watching. You can see a really decent result. Although, decent housing for now. I might have to change that, and we'll see how, if I end up using it in the edit, and I can probably just change it using Kling 01. But that was pretty good. Excuse me. Jesus. Then the shot of Martin Luther King just waving to the crowd. Very simple prompt. Slow creep back. A man is waving to a large crowd. And I think, again, it did a pretty good result here. Although it is, yeah, slow creep back. So I was following that coherently. Then the shot of the speech, slow pull back, close up on a man holding a stack of papers. The man lovingly taps the pages as though they hold great sentiment. And again, I think it did a pretty good job there. Although it has added in some additional blue writing there. Is that in the original? Oh, I see. I didn't even notice that. But still good regardless. And then the shot, the slightly obscured shot of Martin Luther King, slow push in but close-up shot on the guy. We keep his face obscured. He gives a smile and then turns to the dais as he prepares to give his speech. Smile, turn to the dais, and is about to give his speech. And you can see the paper clip there as well, so good retention on that. Then for this particular shot, I actually needed to be a bit more specific, and I wanted it to hit a few beats based on specific times. So the actual prompt structure is slightly different. You can see I've got these brackets where I say 1 to 3 seconds, 4 to 6 seconds, and 7 to 10 seconds. This is pretty standard stuff on Kling's platform, and I also I wasn't sure if you could do it through the Runway platform, but as it turns out, you can. So 1 to 2, 3 seconds, slow push in. Martin Luther King is about to say his famous line, "I have a dream." Excuse me. 4 to 6 seconds, we continue to push in. Martin raises his hand up to quieten the crowd. The crowd goes silent, and then he says his line, his famous line. And then 7 to 10 seconds, the crowd immediately erupts in celebration. And I think it did a pretty good job. And I mean, it was so good in the previous recording that I did when I was doing this live. I think I swore. I was like, this is beeping amazing. I couldn't believe it. You can see it only took 3 generations to get there as well, so it was relatively quick on the coherence level. And then the last shot that I wanted to do was just to have like a cut from here and then get closer to the crowd. So you can see I also added some directions. 1 to 3 seconds, slow pull back, and then 4 to 10 seconds the crowd erupts in cheer. So what it actually did was it split the shots into 2. So I didn't exactly ask for this, but it worked out okay. You can check it out. So this is the first part of the shot, and then it does this cut. But I actually quite like this. It's not exactly what I wanted, but the results are pretty good. And I think going from the behind shot of Martin Luther King, where you've got this crowd going, wow, and it's this super wide shot, getting quite close, is actually really cool. But again, I'm going to need to do something about this poster here. It obviously doesn't make any sense. So again, I'm hoping that Kling 01 and also this one over here, Kling 01, can help me out with that. But I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty good set of shots. And I've also got the edit, which I can show you guys. Well, when I say edit, this is basically just the shots laid down next to each other. I haven't done any editing, any sort of trimming or anything like that. But together, you can see that these shots are actually working pretty nicely. I'll just jump ahead. Nice little opening shot. Then we've got Martin, who sort of lovingly taps the page. I might even open up with this shot, depending, because these are quite loud shots. That smile shot and turning around and then putting up his hand and I have a dream, and then cuts into that. I mean, that's great. I'm really stoked about it. Oh, you can have a look and see that losing a bit of coherence there around the edges. Voice, I might have just cut out. Yeah, you can see it over there. We'll see if I can fix that. But still pretty good. Then with the next scene, the Wright brothers also used a similar Weavy approach, which I'll take you guys through now. Let me just swing back over there. So, same process, but because I didn't have a color visual of the original, I had to add in something different. So the 2 shots, 2 original photos that I used for this is this one, which is the actual flight, and I imagine that's one of the Wright brothers that is busy taking the video. I assume it's this guy over here. And then this is another shot of one of the Wright brothers doing some telemetry data and just checking the I guess the temperature, not the temperature, but is there going to be rain or something. So for these, I both used the same approach. I actually took inspiration from this upscale prompt and created a colorization prompt, or taking black and white footage into color footage, and it did a pretty good job. I'm pretty impressed with it. So this is the flight shot, and it looks pretty decent. It does look a little like it's been painted, but that's fine. This one, however, I was really impressed with. It looks, specifically him, he looks really good in the background, and it just did a great job of restoring the color back into that black and white shot. But for both of these shots, I then passed it through the upscale prompt, which, I mean, you can't really see it so much in this, but there's a lot more detail in the actual flight. But for this particular shot, it did a fantastic job of adding in some additional details into the guys' faces, specifically his and specifically him. And if you ever look back, this looks kind of AI in some ways. just around the eyes, it just looks, and the face, it looks quite AI. Even the original black and white photo, this guy's got that AI look about him, at least the old school generation AI, and it's still a little dodgy, but he looks fantastic, and the details in the jacket is really good. So a good process to have coloring, upscaling, great input now visuals for any of the additional shots that I want to create. So again, this is probably not a shot that I'm going to use in the end because it shows too much of their faces, so I wanted a reverse shot, and I did a fantastic job in doing that. So we now got a reverse. Then from there, I wanted to get a close-up shot of one of the Wright brothers and interacting with the paper clip. So it took a screenshot of the guy's face so that it at least can guide it. You can see it kept a good retention there, so it looks a little bit like the guy from the side. And then again, just sort of close-up of him handing the notebook to the guy in the brown leather jacket, or the Wright brother in brown leather jacket. And then I wanted some more shots of the guy in the brown leather jacket, and then used also, whoopsie daisy, used this shot here to create a character shot so that it would retain really some of the detail, even though we don't necessarily need to see this face. But I got some weird, very strange generations back with this. For some reason, Nana Banana thinks that Daniel Craig starred in the Wright brothers story, and he kept on popping up in all of the visuals that I was doing, and no matter what I tried to do, it would just continue to have him in there. And I would say update the man's face so that it's not Daniel Craig, and use the man's face from image 2, using this image. And you can see, where's the other ones that I did? Yeah, again, Daniel Craig, every time. Very strange. But let me see. I even try to create a character sheet to use that as a better input for the other visuals. And I said, yeah, give me a photographic cast sheet of this man, front on shot and side profile. Do not use Daniel Craig's likeness. And it just wouldn't listen. So now I've got Daniel Craig, who's featuring in the story of the Wright brothers, which is a very Daniel Craig kind of story to feature on, to be fair. I mean, this looks right up his alley. But anyway, I had initially, not initially, in the end, I had all the shots that I needed. I didn't necessarily need to have any shots from the front, although I did really like those shots and I was going to try to use it. But in the end, I had all the shots that I needed, which is about 4 shots, which is plenty for this section in the video, or in the TV ad. And yeah, and then you can see how they are looking as shots. So I just did this as a test to see how it works, and did a pretty good job. This is one of the first ones. This is all done in Runway's workflow as well. Let me just skip it ahead, yeah. Also still very cool. I really like the end interaction. It's just amazing like how realistic it is. There's like nothing in it that I would change. And then just the guy, one of the Wright brothers, interacting with the paperclip and then handing it over to someone off camera. It's very cool. And I mean, this is not accurate in terms of the actual plane. However, it's a really nice shot and did exactly what I asked. It's very cool. So I asked it to 1 to 3 seconds tracking shot following bit behind the men pushing the aircraft. 4 to 5 seconds, the propeller of the aircraft kicks into action. There is a puff of smoke and it lurches forward away from the men, and then the camera continues to follow past the men as the craft gains speed and momentum. And I think it did a pretty good job of retaining that direction. So a little lurch forward, camera then passes the men. So I'm really happy with that. Even though it's not entirely correct and historically accurate, it's really cool. Maybe I'll change it, maybe I won't. But that's where I'm at so far. I think so far so good. I'm pretty happy with the progress. I will most likely just take all the shots that I've generated for the Wright brothers, pop them into the edit as well, and then I'll move on to the photographer and the rest of the shots. But yeah, thank you so much for sticking around and having a listen and checking out my workflow. I will do another video of the next sets. Enjoy. Have a good day.